Okay, boys and girls, in the previous class, I clarified the difference between a network and a circuit. Okay, so we have what we call classification of networks. This is very important. In the future classes, we are going to look at what we call the theories which are in circuit analysis. In order for you to understand some of the theories, you should know the different types of networks. We have what we call a linear network, or you can call the other one a nonlinear network. You can also classify networks into unilateral and bilateral networks. You can also classify networks into active networks and passive networks. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what is a linear network and what is a nonlinear network. Okay, a nonlinear network is a network whose parameter does not change with change in time, temperature, voltage, etc. Okay. So if the parameters of a network remains constant, even if you change time, temperature, or voltage, okay, the type of that network is called a nonlinear network. Okay. Nonlinear networks does not have the mathematical equation from superposition theory. Okay. In other words, you cannot you cannot apply superposition theorem. We have what we call the superposition theory. Sorry, the superposition theory cannot be applied. You cannot obtain a mathematical equation for a nonlinear network from a what? From superposition theory. Okay. So the opposite is true. A linear network is a network with the parameters which remain constant, okay, with change in temperature, time, voltage, etc. and etc. Right? So the mathematical equation of a linear network can be obtained from the superposition theory. The superposition theory is used to obtain the mathematical equation of this what? Of this network. Okay. So this is what we call a linear network, and this is what we call a nonlinear network. Okay. What is a unilateral network and what is a bilateral network? Okay. In a unilateral network, you will find that in a unilateral network, the parameters of this network, they change if the voltage is reversed. Okay, if the polarity of voltage is reversed, you'll find that the magnitude of current in a unilateral network changes. The magnitude of current changes if the polarity of voltage is reversed. Okay, this is what we call a unilateral network. Okay, a unilateral network, it consists elements like transistors, and what? And diodes. It consists elements like transistors and what? And diodes. So the magnitude of current does not change if the polarity of voltage is reversed in a bilateral network. The magnitude of current, okay, let me write in full. Current changes if the polarity of voltage, is reversed. Okay. And you find this type of networks, they contain these elements are resistors, right? Yes. We have what we call an active network. So what is an active network? So an active network is a network which contains source of what? Of energy. The one which contains the source of energy is called an active element. Yes, it is called an active network. Okay. And a network which does not contain the source of energy is called a passive network. Yes. A passive network is a network which does not contain the source of what? Of energy. Okay. So these are the three classes of what? Of networks. Okay. An active element is the one which contains the source of energy, while a passive network does not contain the source of energy. So in the sense, if I'm saying it contains the source of energy, we know that the sources of energy are, we have what we call the current source. We also have what we call the voltage source. So the ones which does not contain the source of energy, they contain resistors, capacitors, and what? And inductors only. And inductors only. Okay. Thank you, boys and girls. I will see you in the next